I am Sister Dolores D'Aloia. I'm a Franciscan Sister of the Atonement. I had a very religious background, very spiritual parents, and because of that, our Sisters of the Atonement came to our town and they worked with us. And so my sister, really my sister Barbara, uh, felt the call to religious vocation, and I accompanied her when she was visiting orders to see where she would like to become a sister. So we stopped at Graymore, and she loves it so much, and she said, "This is where I will enter." And then the Superior said to me, "Someday you will be back here also." And so 3 years after, I entered the Sisters of the Atonement. As a Sister of the Atonement, after my formation, I was sent out to California, my first mission, and I loved working with the people in California. But after 1 year, I was asked to go to Utah, where I lived for 3 years, and I loved working with the people in Utah also, especially the children. I taught kindergarten while I was there. And then I returned to the same mission in California after 3 years, where I had left crying, and I stayed for another 7 years. And then while I was at a retreat, they mentioned that they wanted volunteers for Brazil. And right away I said, "That's for me." And the sisters were amazed because actually they couldn't believe that I came out with this so fast. But I said, "Wait a minute." I said, "First of all, I'm going to think about it, and then I'll pray with me, then I'll write a letter to the Superior and see what happens." And that's exactly what I did. And when she was very surprised, because I was way out in California volunteering for Brazil, she said, "You will go 2 years from now, you'll be going to Brazil. Prepare yourself." And so I left for the mission in Brazil in September of 1965. First of all, I would say it was hard leaving, especially my mother, because I didn't expect her to cry so much when she said goodbye. So I really felt that sacrifice, but then I knew that I should go forward. And then when I arrived in Brazil, Sister Andre and I had to go to a cultural course to learn the customs of the people in the Portuguese language. And we got our beginning there for about 4 months. And then we left for Jataí, the diocese where I am presently working. We left for Jataí and started our missionary work, where we had 4 sisters already working there, and our Friars of the Atonement were also working there at the same time. So we started our missionary work very happily. It was different. We had to learn the language. It took about 2 years, I would say, where I really felt comfortable with the language, that I could speak and understand the people. But the people were very lovely to us, and they helped us so much, even in learning the language, especially the people that were poor. The poor, they seemed to be more understanding with us if we made mistakes. So I really felt that was a great help. And then we started our work, which was mainly catechetical work. We were asked by the bishop at that time, Bishop Kasha, to coordinate the work of catechetics in the Diocese of Jataí. And that's what we're still doing. I'm doing it on a parish level at the present time. That's what we're doing at the present time also. I have always worked with catechetics, training catechists, and teaching the children. We work with the youth also, and we work with adults. So it has been quite a life doing that. But we used to go out on weekends to the rural towns where we had to help the people in the same way. So most of our weekends were spent in rural towns doing the same thing that we did within Jataí. I never felt a culture shock, but there were differences in the customs of the people, especially their language, I think would be the hardest thing. But it did take time to do that. But always preaching in the name of the Lord. And then after, as the time went on, our priest left, our friars left Brazil, and one by one the sisters also went back to the United States that were called to the mission. And so I felt that my calling was to stay on the mission. I worked in a parish, alone as a sister, and then I was called to a rural town to be an administrator of the parish, a parish without a priest, for 8 years. So I had permission to really officiate at the weddings and the baptisms and taking care of all the things that the priest would do. Just we couldn't celebrate Mass or attend confessions, but the rest of the duties of the priest I was able to do. I was privileged to do that. I really started doing weddings, I will tell you if you would like to know. The incident was that our priest went on retreat, uh, on a retreat in Manaus. And while they were there, they had, for dessert, they had putting jello. And the lady, the cook, put rat poison in instead of the jello powder. And the priests were poisoned. And so I got a call from the vicar general saying the bishop has given you permission to do 2 weddings in the rural area tonight. So that is when I really started officiating at the weddings in Brazil. And I know when he came back to the States, he said one of the sisters was doing weddings and all that. They were very surprised because that wasn't the custom here in the United States. And hopefully that will come to be as time goes on, really. So I was able to have the privilege of doing all that and working closely with the people. I loved working with the poor. I really felt that we have so much, me being an American, we had so much and they had so little. But I think they had a very strong faith, and that's what I loved most of all and increased my faith. And I continue doing that until today. I was asked by an author journalist in the town where I live. She came to me one day at the Catechetical Center and she said, I would like to write your life story as a missionary. And I said, who am I? And my spirit said, Dolores, you're privileged to have your life written while you're still alive. Well, she came many days to hear my adventures, my life story, and she took my pictures. I had many, many pictures right from the beginning of my life, and she gathered those together, and she wrote this book in Portuguese. It's called Sister Dolores, The Life Story of a Southwestern Goias Pioneer Missionary. The book was presented and has my life story, which I was very happy to talk about my family because I do feel I'm homesick for my family many times. I feel maybe alone in that way, but the Lord and the love of the people helps me to go on. And I have a group of associates that are part of our community and that live our charism. So I do have a family picture here that I was very proud of also. And it shows in the beginning, actually, when I was in my brother and sister's wedding, because I really was a favorite of a family of 13. I, I was a baby girl. And then when I had my first communion, received the sacraments in my childhood, which the people were very happy to see. And I even show some of the pictures in California where I worked with the people that I love very dearly. Then it goes on to tell where I started my life as a missionary at our mother house at Graymore, the formation time that I had with the sisters when I worked in California and in Utah. And then I went to the mission in Jataí, where 4 of our sisters were already there with the friars working, and the 2 of us arrived in September of 1965. We arrived in Brazil. And it shows the work that I have done, preparing people for the sacraments, helping the poor in their needs, having social programs, many social programs throughout the years to help the people. I feel that the Lord came to give life, a plentiful life for all. And I feel many of them are deprived of that because of the situations, the unjust situations. And it shows my work working with them and where I prepared others for the sacraments. And the things that we did a lot of evangelization by theaters, plays. I felt with the youth that if they could put that into some kind of action, the people would learn the Gospels that way. And they did. They were very intelligent, and I think many of the people were helped by that. And when I came the other day, last week, to California, I heard them saying, you really gave us our strong faith. You helped in our strong faith. And today they feel that very strongly. And that's really what I'm out to be, really, and to do. I feel I have a strong faith, which I have to, really help get stronger each day by prayer and sacrifice. And I feel that by my example, they will be happier people, not only there, but here also, because I see there are so many problems in the world today, and we help people all the way. The only thing I couldn't do, as I said, I couldn't celebrate the Mass or forgive sins. That is really up to the priest, but I can do all the other things that I really would like to do. I helped many children, children that did not have homes. I have helped many children enter into a family, be adopted by families in several occasions, and that is a great joy to me, because recently a boy that's about 30 years old in Brazil, this couple, I received him at the hospital door, and the parents took him and moved to another state. They had children of their own. They wanted to adopt a child. And so he is a musician today, and he said to his mother, "Is she still alive? Is she still alive?" He was referring to me. So she called me at that moment, and he talked to me. That's a great joy to give a life, especially now. There is a very special situation in my life. I really am so grateful that my niece and nephew, they wanted to adopt a Brazilian child. And so I had the privilege of accompanying a single mother who really did not want this child. Actually, I accompanied her in her prenatal classes and all. And then when the baby was born at the maternity clinic, I was able to receive her and keep her with me until she was about 5 months old. Now, I was doing a full-time job at the time also, but a couple would take her at night and take care of her, and I would take care of her during the day with my work. It really was a privilege to be a mother also. I feel that I have not missed out on anything. I would mention that I was asked in marriage twice, really, and that wasn't really because they were attracted, people were attracted, and I was able to be a mother to Francesca for about 5 months until my niece and nephew adopted her and had the legal situation was taken care of. And she is going to be 12 years old this year. This is her as a baby, when I had her as a baby. And then she came to Brazil to celebrate her 10th birthday. So she was in Brazil 2 years ago. The only fear she had probably was to meet her real mother, so that did not happen. That wouldn't happen, really. So she is privileged to be with our family, and I'm very happy that when the judge asked me, "Why do you want to adopt a Brazilian child?" I said, "Because I left my family years ago, and I know the sacrifice that was made, and I want a Brazilian child in my family to take my place." And Francesca is taking my place in the family. She was baptized in the same church where I was in Mechanicsville, New York, and she is very happy. She has a very beautiful life. And I think giving life to these children is part of my mission also. So I would say that my life has been fulfilled. I say to this, my friend, priest friend, I really feel that I am fading out gradually, because there's so many people that want to hear about what I am doing, what I have been doing, and that is a little taxing. But I think that's part of my mission also, to spread the word. I was told long ago to teach the faith, not only to teach it, but to spread the faith. And I feel that is what I am trying to fulfill during my lifetime. This has been written not to be popular. They say you're a celebrity. I didn't feel that way in any way. I really want to inspire others to serve the Lord. which man tells sacrifice, but it's worth it really. So that is why this book was written and why it was published in English also. And I really feel that I have helped people because I was inspired by a book years ago when I was working in California. It was called Jungle Call by Monsignor Casella. He worked in the mission in Brazil, and he was writing his life experiences there. And I think that touched me. I said the power of a book that can inspire others also. Even though people maybe do not like to read as much today because of the modern technology, I really feel that book has that power. So I think that by reading this, they may be inspired to do the same. And that is really why I went ahead with this. I really feel that hopefully others will feel that not only to be a priest or religious, we do need the laity. We need them to be leaders in the church so that they will serve the Lord faithfully.